Welcome back, my beautiful people. This is the Bamboo Season Podcast. I'm your host, Sober Wellness Coach Dorian Wormsley, and this podcast is sponsored by Dorian Wormsley Wellness, a coach, a wellness coaching business helping people build a strong body and a clear mind. And a lot of people have been asking me, what is Bamboo Season? What is your podcast about? And I want you to know it's about transformation and growth. I want you to hear my story as I share it and the stories of my guests to give you an example and show you that where you are now isn't where you have to be, and you can transform at any point you'd like. And once you start to begin transforming, that's where your true personal growth comes from. Think about a caterpillar. It transforms into a cocoon, and then it transforms into a beautiful butterfly. So that's what this podcast is about. I want you to hear my guest stories because a lot of them started at one point, they made a decision to change their lives, and now they're living in their truth. Very powerful. Now, today's guest is a financial guru, a travel agent, a mama, maybe a scammer. I don't know. We'll see. I bring you Ann McDowell.
We might need to edit that part, okay?
You're not a scammer. I was just joking, guys.
Yeah,
She's not a scammer.
Let's get it right.
How you doing, Ann?
I'm good. How are you?
I love to say I'm living the dream one day at a time.
That's right. That's right.
Now, we met through social media for the most part.
Right.
But I think Vegas is very small. Once you meet one person, you realize y'all know the same people.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I came across your page through Charnay. She had shared you, and I just followed up, and you helped me with some financial things that I was dealing with.
Which we are still in the process
Yeah,
of.
as an independent contractor, self-employed person, tracking my finances hasn't been the strong suit.
Sure.
Because maybe as well as like once you first start, it's kind of like, I just got to get the money first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out how I can maintain and keep the people. And then I got into a point to where things were getting very stable and, good money. So I'm like, okay, I need to start tracking things because I don't want to out of nowhere get hit by IRS or somebody freezing my account the wrong time.
Right.
Now, Ann, tell us a little bit. So I mentioned you're a financial guru, a mother, a wife. But also when I met you, you told me at one point you were a fitness coach.
I was.
So let's dive in a little bit about, a little bit where you're from and kind of things you do.
So first off, born and raised in Las Vegas. So you're right.
Okay,
Vegas
native.
is like a big little city, right?
What high school did you go to?
I went to Rancho, but I graduated from Cheyenne High School. Rancho. That was my school, though. That was where my heart was.
Okay.
But to fast forward to my fitness days, that was 2006 is when that journey started. I was working for 24-Hour Fitness. I had just had my third baby. I wanted to get out of the house and, connect with other adults.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a part-time job at 24-Hour Fitness, just working the front desk. I wasn't asking for much. I just needed to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I had been an at-home mom for a couple years. Got to 24-Hour Fitness and, not to toot my own horn, but I am who I am in terms of like skill set. So I was promoted very quickly in that position from front desk, literally bottom up, front desk, assistant operations manager, general manager. And I moved to a lot of clubs around the valley. I started at the 24-Hour Fitness on West Craig Road, but my final destination was the Cheyenne and Rainbow 24-Hour Fitness. But throughout my time at 24-Hour Fitness, I learned how to be a scammer. No, I'm just kidding. I learned how to be, I'll give credit where credit is due. I learned how to be an effective leader.
Nice.
I learned a lot working for 24-Hour Fitness. So that was probably one of the best jobs I had. And I call it a job because I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
And, there's always someone in your way trying to stunt your growth. And that was kind of my experience there. But like I said, I was there. I learned how to be an effective leader. I also had the experience of getting certified as a personal trainer, and I was put in situations where I had to level up, learn other skills that were not provided to me, So I was put in a club where I didn't have a staff, literally just like 2 front desk girls, no trainers, no salespeople. So I had to become all the things. And so, how to make it happen. So that's where my fitness journey started. And then literally, like I said, I had just had a baby. So I had a little weight I needed to shake off, and got with my trainer, Andy Salatne, was one of the best trainers I ever had. And he pushed me hard.
He's still here in Vegas?
No, he actually lives in San Diego now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still training?
Yes, he is still training.
Nice.
Yeah, he is still training. But he pushed me really hard. And from there, I just decided one day, I used to always look at fitness magazines.
Yeah.
And I would see like girls in those cute bikinis. And I'd be like, oh, I want to do that one day. And literally, I remember it was yesterday. Shine and Rainbow. Are you familiar with the Las Vegas Classic? It's an NPC, figure bodybuilding show that they put on every year here, first week in November. I just gave them a plug, but anyways, the gentleman who hosts that show, Steve Kerr, used to work out in my gym.
Okay,
and he was in there hanging up flyers, and on the flyers there are people that have participated in the show who've won. And I said to Steve, I'm going to do that one day, and he's like, you should. And literally within that same month, my district manager gave me a referral to a coach who can teach me how to pose. I was already in the workout flow, right? I had already lost like maybe 30 pounds. I was feeling good, starting to see like the results of all the work I put in. And before you know it, when the show came around that first week in November, I was right there.
Damn.
Yeah. So it was I don't encourage people to train in that way.
Yeah.
But it was something I was going through a tough time mentally during that time. So it was an easy outlet for me. So I committed myself like 150% and graced the NPC stage, loved it, did it again and again and again and again for a few years.
And wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When it comes to fitness, one thing I've learned and understood was once you get your fitness in order, like you have a routine, it's almost like, not always, but the rest of your life can almost come together. Example, you pay X amount of money to get a trainer or a gym, right? So now because you're making that financial investment, you might not have the extra money to go out so often now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now you're eating at home more. Now you're staying in earlier. And then also when you're paying, you want to make sure you show up the next day as your best self. So you might not drink that night. You might actually go to bed a little earlier because you got to go at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And once you get into that routine, now everything else has to try to fit in within that routine if you make that routine a priority.
True.
And I don't think people always see it that way. They always see it the opposite way. Well, I got to do this and I got to do that. I can't. And like, no, if you fit that fitness in first, you'll realize all the other shit might have to stop. That's not benefiting you. Obviously, you can't just throw your kids to the side. But that's my take on the fitness side of things. And
well, you can't say that you're fully committed, right? If you're grinding hard in the gym and still going out, having drinks. I mean, it got to a point for me. I mean, I didn't foresee any of this. I just said one day that I wanted to participate in this competition, but again, I was going through some personal things. So this was a way for me to cope and kind of just get away from what I was dealing with. So I poured myself into it, like so much to the point where I bought a treadmill. It was extreme.
Yeah.
I bought a treadmill at home. So I worked at the gym. So I'm there already 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours. It was ridiculous. And my friends would call me and like, girl, let's go have some wine. And I'm like, I'm going to go out with you guys, but I can't have any wine. So don't keep asking me to just have a little wine. It's not going to hurt. It got to the point. Then I just start showing up in like hoodies and sweatshirts and they're like, okay.
That's what it is.
You can't be showing up like that. But there were times where I would bring my own food. I'm like, okay, I can come hang out for a little bit. And I'd have my 6-pack bag lunchbox, just kicking it. But after a while that fizzled out. Yeah. Like I said, I'm focused. This is what I'm doing. I had already accomplished so many like mental and physical milestones at that point. I'm like, no glass of wine is going to set me back or, a night out on the town. Like you just have to, once you decide, you just got to do it.
And I think you made a great point because I think for you, for example, you did that show, right? So there was a point in period where you were very dialed in.
Yes.
Nutrition, sleep, friends, all that. To where when you stopped bodybuilding and doing the shows, some of those habits stuck. To where it's okay to go out here and there with your friends.
Yeah.
But now you have those habits from before that you built. It's a little bit easier to not let that one night of drinking turn into a whole weekend of fucked up shit.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I wish more people realize you just got to dial in a little bit, have a little phase of suck to where it's like so hard and uncomfortable. Eventually your eyes are going to open and realize some of those other things you think are fun or you're missing out on aren't even truly benefiting you.
Mm-hmm.
One of my clients recently, she took some time away from me and then came back, and I asked her about her nutrition, and she told me what she was eating, and she's on point. And she said, like, I don't care if it's the same food. I don't care if it's boring. I've lived a little too long.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my sweets and all that. I need it to suck for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't realize that. They always think they got to live a little, which I feel like feeding yourself bullshit. How's that living a little?
Right.
At some point you got to realize, this ain't really benefiting me longer. It's giving me a short little dopamine hit. And I'm guilty of it too, because me myself, I'm an emotional eater.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have spurts and times where I catch myself, I have to sit back and catch myself. Like, what's really going on?
Yeah.
Because I'll go work out. I can work out. Working out is the easy part for me these days. It's just part of me. And then I'll eat good. But then at some point, you know what? I need a little donut or cookie or something. But it will turn into multiple days, low key. And so then I have to sit back and think, all right, hold on. What's really going on? Then I'll sit back and think, okay, there's some emotional triggers going on. There's something I'm really going through internally.
Right.
And that food is giving me that comfort that I need. So I'm guilty of it too. Just because I'm a fitness coach, don't get it twisted. Because I've met people and they think just because I'm a fitness coach that I'm walking around, like you said, with my bag of food and all that.
Yeah,
I'm far from that.
It's not real life. And there's so much psychology behind like fitness and nutrition, right? And that's why fitness, is one of those things that there will always be a need for, is because we're all battling our own things, right? Internally. And the one thing that we jeopardize in the process of our own battles is always like our nutrition and something related to our bodies, right? What we think and feel, when we internalize it, our body is the one that's taking the score and that is getting the short end of the stick all the time. So it's just one of those things, like now that I'm, older, I care about feeling good, The aesthetics, yeah, I'm not going to say that they're not important, because, we all want to feel good in our own skin, and not just internally, but externally. But it's just not as important as it used to be, right? Now I just want to be able to move good, The way this age is hitting, like some mornings you wake up, your feet cramped and your hip is not feeling, so you just have to, they say there's no such thing as balance, but when I say balance, I'm just referring to like not doing one of anything in excess, right? When you think about wellness and the pillars of wellness, right? There's 8 components. And so you have to give your life, every aspect of your life, a little bit of you. And your fitness and nutrition, align, but you've got to give it the love that it needs. And especially because our health is our wealth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you made a great point of, what is the point you made? That was great. I just had it in my head. Hold on. Damn, brain fart, that quick.
See what I'm saying? That age.
I need more.
You didn't take your ginkgo biloba today.
More fish oil.
Seriously.
What did you just say?
It happens.
Hold on.
Just health is wealth, and our body takes the score. Like
before the health is wealth, what were you saying? You were saying the balance. And you had a great point on talking about you care more how you feel. And that's, for me, on my side of how a fitness coach I am, I try to promote that as opposed to the aesthetic look of things. Because, like you said, you want to feel good. You want to wake up, feel energized. You want, if you have kids, you want to be able to take them to their games and go with them, walk your dog.
Yes.
You want to do all those things without feeling tired and run down. And I think what I try to sell is you want to feel strong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And through all our lives, I'm born 91, but through all of our lives, we were seen and taught through TV and all that. You got to be skinny. You got to do the cardio. You got to do this. You got to do that and look a certain way. And it's like, that's not really the move now. You know,
No, that's just a bunch of fuckery. And like, seriously, in the big scheme of things, when you think about mental health and physical health and spiritual health, like half the time we're sabotaged, like half the time it's self-sabotage. But that's why I highly encourage personal trainers to also become health coaches, because fitness is not just fitness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Workout and nutrition alone, yes, they will help you achieve goals and you will feel good, but there's always more to it. Like, you know this firsthand. Like, how many times have you talked to a client through an entire session about their personal problems?
Always.
Right?
Yeah.
So how intense is that workout if they can talk to you?
Probably don't even work out.
Probably don't even work
There's
out.
been times I've sat down like, hey,
sometimes you just have things
I won't
to
count it as a
address.
session. What's going on? Like, and you're right, because I get it. That's why I like to see myself as a coach and not just a trainer.
Right.
Because I'm coaching it through a whole wellness overall transformation.
Right.
Because you not adhering to eating a certain way or showing up for yourself a certain way, it's more than you just, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You do it. I can tell you want to do it. You feel it. But there's something in you or something that's happening that's stopping you from keeping your word or maintaining.
Right.
Then we got to dig a little deeper, and it's okay. It's funny because I was telling somebody, I'm always telling somebody something, but because when I watch our podcast over, I catch myself saying certain things again and again, but it is what it is.
Well, it's important. Repetition. Think of the power of it.
Oh, you know what's crazy that you say this? I know we're not a political podcast, by the way, but I saw a clip of Charlamagne the God and Kamala Harris. He's like, what would you say about people who say you say the same thing at every rally? She said, discipline.
Yes.
I was like, damn, that's a good clapback. Because you do have to hear the same thing again and again and again.
Exactly.
You know how many times I tell my clients, protein shake a day, this, that. They probably get tired of hearing it. I don't care.
Right.
I'm going to keep telling you. I'm going to text it to you. I'm going to tell you in person. I'm going to DM your spouse and tell them to tell you.
Right.
Yeah,
we're always repeating ourselves all the time in every profession, because I heard you say it, but it went in one ear, out the other, right? I heard you say it again. And then the third time, the fourth time, then I really start to internalize and process that, oh, maybe I should actually do what he's saying do. And then once I do it and I do it consistently enough, I start to feel the benefits of that ask, right? And now I'm like, okay, now I understand. So, I mean, just think about it. Even in finance, you see people telling people all the time, you know, save your money, invest, all these things. But how many people are doing it? Our economy, and I don't want to get too far into that, but right now, consumer debt is higher than ever. People are struggling more than ever. So clearly, somebody ain't listening to what's being said, right? But a part of that is a fear of just not knowing where to start, how to start. Same thing, you know, that's why it's so funny how I landed here from fitness to finance.
I was about to ask you, talk about that, how you got from fitness to finance.
I mean, because it just all aligns, right? I feel like finance just found me. Literally, my sister met someone, and this person was in the financial services industry, and they reached out to me, but to help me with my own finances, right? And so during that conversation, of course, she talked to me about the work she's doing as a financial educator, and it was appealing. At that time, I was a little caught off guard. I was kind of focused on some other projects, but it made sense. And, you know, I have not always been good with my finances, right? And when you think in the spirit of when you know better, you do better, it's like it was an opportune time for me to see the silver lining, if you will, in that conversation, in the situation. And it just kind of happened. It literally just happened. And before I know it, I'm studying to get licenses. I'm pouring myself into learning how to be a financial educator, how to talk the lingo, using my expertise and experience that I already had. But it just one of those things that just kind of happened.
Okay, and how long have you been doing it?
It's been, what, 3 years? So I'm
Okay.
still very new in financial services, but not new in business. I've been self-employed since I left 24-Hour Fitness back in 2010.
Okay.
So, you know, I had to learn. When I tell you every mistake was made,
Yeah.
I had to learn how to become a business operator. So it's just trial and error.
Now, was anybody in your family entrepreneur or self-employed growing up?
No. Well, yes, but I didn't come to know that until later in life.
Well, I mean, like more directly, like where you grew up in your household.
Nope.
Who'd you grow up
Both
with?
of my parents worked.
Both your parents worked.
Yeah,
You had
both
siblings?
of my parents worked. Yep. I have a sister. Came to find out that I had another sister, but
Through on
Yeah.
what side?
on my biological father's side. So that's a whole nother story. We
Hold
would
on.
need.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
So you grew up here in Vegas.
Grew up in here in Vegas.
Your biological father lives where?
Here.
And he's with your biological mother?
No,
At what age did they separate?
they were never together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And saying not cool, but sorry, it's
I mean, it is cool.
okay.
At that time, I
so
mean,
your
I didn't know.
What about your
so
sister? She's younger or older?
She's younger.
Same mom and dad?
Both are younger. So I have one sister, and we biologically share the same mother. And then I have another sister, and we biologically share the same father.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your
It's a Tyler Perry story.
Your stepfather? You have a stepfather? I'm assuming.
Well, I don't like to refer to him with
As your
the
dad.
step term. That's my dad.
So he
for
was in your
sure.
life since you grew up, pretty much is what you're saying.
Yeah, he passed away already, but
Okay.
Yeah.
And fast forward, you grew up. So both of them, those two in your household, they just worked regular jobs.
yes.
Okay. And was entrepreneurship something you ever thought you would do?
No, I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger.
Why?
Because I feel like I can hold a conversation with the best of them. And when I'm passionate about what I believe in, we can go toe to toe all day.
Interesting. So you like to argue?
No, I don't.
I'm just
I
kidding.
like to pose no, I do not like to argue. However, I am a communicator. So if there's a problem, let's talk about it.
Is there
and
anything?
Let's find a solution.
Speaking of the communicator, I think it's glad you said that. Are there any tactics or things you've read or done to help you improve your communication?
Yeah, self-development is a daily part of my practice. Whether it's listening to a podcast or reading a book or positive self-talk and affirmations, like I literally do it all. It's what has sustained me over the over the years. I've had some great mentors, and self-development is just one of those things that should be ongoing, because when you reach a new level, you've heard that saying, new levels, new demons, right? Like, even if that demon is yourself, like when you reach a new level in your life, maybe you start to question, do I deserve to be here? Is this going to work out? Your brain, that critter brain, just starts to,
That imposter syndrome.
Yes.
When you just said that, I feel like as I've gotten older, there's certain movies and things that were said that now that I'm older, they make so much more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Example here, Spider-Man. What did he tell him? With great power
Comes great responsibility.
Right. And as a kid, I'm like, all right, cool, bro. But for myself, when I started to heal and own all the traumas and all the stuff I used and who I couldn't be, that power I gained back, it came with more responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
because it came with more stuff you got to fix.
Yeah.
How I feel, at least, more people you got to help. So there's a lot of responsibility when you start to take back your power and own it.
Oh, for sure.
Spider-Man was Uncle Ben? That said it?
No,
His uncle?
Spider-Man was Peter Parker.
But his uncle said it to him.
Yes, his uncle said it
Yeah,
to
Uncle
him.
Ben, I think his
Yeah,
name was. So
that's
shout out to
right.
Uncle, well, he's not even
Shout
real.
out. We
but
all have Uncle Ben, right?
he dropped a nugget at a young age, and
Yeah.
that came out when I was real young. So you got into finance, and now with your financial company you have now, what is it you help people do?
Take their power back. It's funny
Ooh,
you should say that.
Let's go.
Yeah, because when I sit down with a client, just like I sat down with you, right? We didn't dive right into your money, right? It's about understanding where they are, right? And helping them to realize first that regardless of where you are in your financial journey, it's never too late to change the narrative. Most of us didn't learn about money growing up, and we didn't learn about money in school, but yet as adults, we're expected to make sound financial decisions. But if no one's teaching you how to save, how to budget, how to create an emergency fund, they're not teaching you about high yield savings accounts, how to invest, how to start building wealth, how to protect it. I mean, yeah, there are lots of books and resources out there, but just because this is working for someone else doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. But most of us are just battling with the lack of knowledge. We fear what we don't understand. And most of the people that I talk to, even I've sat down with some millionaires who make money. I've sat down with company owners that have thriving companies with 50 plus employees, and they've never invested a day in their life. They make the money, but have never invested into the stock market or created any type of long-term savings funnels or vehicles for themselves. But it just has to do with education. Once we educate, then people start to feel empowered and they can get back in the front seat of their financial journey. A lot of us are just burying our head in the sands, hoping that these problems are going to figure themselves out, but that's not the reality of it. And then there's, some of us don't want to ask for help.
Yeah. And I think what I've seen, at least the social media, is like there's so much information.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like information overload, because there's certain people who are in the financial industry talking about this.
Yeah.
Then you see somebody who's successful and makes all this money and they're going to say it this way. So then you're like, who do I follow? Whose plan do I buy, or whatever the case? So you almost get analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Like it's so much, so you don't know where to start. That's how I've felt sometimes. So I'm like, all right, even when I was making like a good amount of money to where I had some extra left over every month, I'm like, I don't even know what to do with it. And me, when I got the extra money, I'm like, you know what? I think I need some new Lululemon. I think I need to get some Uber Eats.
I'm not going to put you on blast.
Maybe I need to go on a date. I got this extra little bit of money. I'm like, maybe I should, because I didn't know, or I don't know how or where. And growing up for me, I was low income household, single mother. We were homeless, living in and out of motels, on food stamps. I was thinking about this the other day, how when I was a kid, we used to live in motels, and it plays into the wealth and our health too. Is like, I didn't have hot meals and food because you live in a motel. There's we had a hot plate. We'd make salami sandwiches, but for the most part, it was bad. So I never learned anything about finances. Even I remember when I started working for myself, and I told my mom, and I wasn't making like six figures or anything, but just a good amount of money. And I told her, and she was shocked. To me, it wasn't even a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's like average. But she was stuck in that mindset of who we used to be when we were homeless, to where she was like shocked and this and
scarcity mindset. That's
exactly
that scarcity mindset.
Exactly that.
I have a way with making people feel comfortable about owning their financial journey, regardless of where they are. And I mean, I've helped so many people thus far just take their power back. And now they're, because of the work that I've done on the education spectrum, I've been able to help people not only save money, right, but protect their money. So there's the 7 money milestones. You've heard me talk about it. I gave you the book, How Money Works. It's the book that we teach financial literacy from. In that book, there is a roadmap, and this is a roadmap to financial independence and freedom. I don't care who the financial professional is. The roadmap is the roadmap. So for anyone the only difference is, like with most financial advisors, there's very little education that's provided. And in most cases, they're not even going to sit down with you unless you have $250,000 to start, right? We know that's not the reality of most people. So I get to sit down with those people that are just, barely making ends meet, to show them that there's another way. And just like fitness, it's going to take action and discipline and patience, but education is something that will show up at every milestone, regardless of how much money you have, right? We talk about people all the time with the number of 401ks that are sitting with millions and millions of dollars in them that people haven't accessed because their employers aren't providing them with the education. So I just have a way with making people feel comfortable when they talk about their finances. And that's half of it, right? Is just knowing that you're not on this journey by yourself, knowing that you have the support of a financial educator, right? A financial professional. And I'm not a know-it-all. I mean, I know a lot of things, but I'm not a know-it-all, and I will never present that way. I'm still learning, but the beauty of it is I have partners that I get to leverage that have been in the business for, I told you, 15, 20, 30 years that are getting ready to retire. And so right now I'm soaking up all the knowledge so that I can not only continue to position my family, but help position the other families to just own their story and change the trajectory of their family. Like
something you said that I loved is, well, for one, it's true. You do make people feel comfortable. I've been nervous to check and figure out my finances since I started working for myself. Because when I first started, I was taking money any kind of way. Venmo, Zelle, cash, EBT, Rush Card.
Not the EBT.
Any groceries. Any kind of way, just to make sure I have that income coming in. And then when I went to you, I was nervous. Like, damn, she's going to have to log in, show her this and that. But I didn't feel that way. I literally felt like, okay, this is where you at? All right. There's a plan, and I felt, like you said, comfortable and not shamed, not embarrassed, anything like that. So congrats. Shout out to you for having that skill. That's definitely a skill in any kind of profession, because even as a fitness coach, I got to make them feel comfortable to come into a place they've never been. All they know is what they see on social media. They might be intimidated. Same with finances. You might be intimidated having it's accountability when it comes down to it. People are fearful of accountability. I understand it because I've had coaches and I haven't texted one back in a few days, and she texted me again yesterday. I need to hit her up and face the fire. And another thing you said was, I'm not a know-it-all, but I know a lot, but I'm still learning. To me, that's the kind of people I trust and the kind of people I want to work with because it's the authenticity of it. You're not sitting here portraying like, hey, I'm this guru. I'll take your 300 and make it 3,000. Pyramid scheme, all these things. You're honest, like, hey, I know X, Y, and Z. What I don't know, I got resources to get the answers.
Oh, yeah.
And I really want people to understand that, how important it is to be authentic. If you're working for yourself or you're searching to work with somebody, make sure they have that with them. Because some people, you could easily go on social media right now, show that you got this information, throw a course at somebody, overcharge them, and give them bare minimum, which I see a lot on social media. Yeah,
you will continue to see that. We're not going to even get on the social media thing. It is what it is. But I just had a young lady. We had a event last Thursday, and this is a friend that I've known since high school, but recently have gotten reacquainted with her. And she came to the event. It was a women's financial empowerment, life insurance awareness event. And she told me about what's so funny?
A woman's life insurance event. What are you teaching them there?
Well,
knock off the husband?
No, absolutely not. I love my husband. What are you talking about?
Not yours.
We're not knocking off husbands.
Go ahead. Continue.
And if we were, that's G14 classified. I would never talk about it. But in the event, there was a panel of professionals. We had some women that have been in financial services for 20 plus years. So it was great because we had, women from all different walks of life, ethnicities, just having good conversations about money. And the reason why we're having those conversations is 82% of women die single, and 82% of men die married. So women outlive men based on statistics. So when we're left to deal, to kind of carry the torch when it comes to the finances, it's important that we understand the responsibility of being able to make our own decisions financially, independent of our husbands, right? And not relying on that codependency financially. I know a woman who lost her husband, and because he paid all the bills and handled everything, she literally didn't even know how to access the accounts, nor does she know what accounts they had, because he was handling everything. And it was a struggle. No power of attorney, none of that in place. And it was a struggle to help her get through. So she can't even mourn her husband, because now she's got to figure out passwords and all of these things. Like, it's wild. It's wild. So we're having those kind of conversations, just being prepared, especially when in the big scheme of things, like you grew up with your mom, right? Single mom. Moms are the ones that are holding it down for the family. We're the ones that take off when the kids are sick. You know, we're the ones that are willing to work that extra job that we really don't want to work just to make ends meet. Like, we do whatever it takes. And not that our men don't. It's just that pressure. Like, I mean, we were born with it. It's innate, and we go get it for our families. And so, you know, in the spirit of financial independence, it's important for women to know how money works. Men aren't afraid to take investment or to, you know, make investments statistically. But we deserve that same energy and that same love.
How do you think people can get themselves away from that scarcity mindset?
You just have to talk about it. We've got to bring it to the light and out of the shadows. And the person that you talk to is someone that you have to feel comfortable talking to and that you trust. But once you've talked about it, you got to take action, because to just talk about it, I mean, you won't get very far with that. And we all know that.
One thing you said earlier a second ago was the woman empowerment, life insurance, financial party.
Yes, it was a party.
That's what y'all do?
Yep, that's what we do.
I've been seeing a lot of women empowerment events, right? Especially here in Vegas, on social media. I'm not against it, I love it. I'm just always like, damn, I wonder if maybe we need to do it. It's putting events together with women and the men.
We do events for everyone all the time. Yeah, we do events for everyone. But Domestic Abuse Month is coming up.
This month.
Is it this month?
October,
yes.
Yeah. October is the domestic and breast cancer.
Okay, that's right. And so financial abuse is a real thing. And so that's why we didn't title the event that.
Yeah.
But definitely had those conversations. And that's why financial independence amongst us as women is so important, because in a situation where you're married to someone who's controlling the finances and you're not privy to the information or the accounts and all of that, I mean, there's so many red flags there, and there's a lot of statistics around it, but it's important for us.
Are there any things you've seen through social media or things you've heard through clients, misconceptions when it comes to finances?
Oh, all the time. But the biggest thing that I have experienced, right? You know, you see a lot of things on social media.
Yeah.
So I really don't speak from that place. I speak from like the interactions and the experiences that I'm having in real time with people. And most of the women that I work with are single mothers and are living paycheck to paycheck. And not all, but most. And again, it's just that scarcity mindset. Nobody taught it to us growing up. We didn't learn about it in school. It's just that same not American dream, but like most of us didn't learn about money, right? So it's the same story from client to client. I mean, and there's some differences, but I can sum it up to just not knowing. And like I said, when we don't know, oftentimes we're fearful of the things that we don't know. So people are quick to say, oh, that's a scam, when they don't know and understand. But when you provide the education, it helps for them to better understand their money. And I'm showing people, it's not me talking to them. I'm actually using their finances, their situation, to help them create a plan that feels comfortable, I don't want to say feels easy, but feels easy enough for them to take back their control and get in the driver's seat. Like, okay, so just like when we sat down, right? We shed some light on some areas of your finances that maybe you were aware of, but not fully.
Oh,
but it's like once you see the numbers,
shit.
you like, okay, hold up. There's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of opportunity for Dorian to do a lot of exciting things,
You
right?
sit my ass in the house. That's what I need to do. When I saw mine, I was like, what? I try to make it seem like, no, that ain't right. That ain't real. But it's like the numbers are there. It's there. There's no way. There's no
numbers
getting
don't lie.
Yeah,
as they say.
there's no getting around it. I could say whatever I wanted, and I was just like, damn, okay, I got to make some better financial decisions. Especially my main thing was just the entertainment and eating out and things like that. To where it's like, what are you doing?
But how do you make better financial decisions if you don't know how? So it was something that you said earlier is like, even when it comes to nutrition, right? And fitness, track your macros, write down everything you eat, track your workouts. You can't grow or change what you don't track. So how can you go from A to B in terms of a goal without really knowing where you were at A? You have to have something to measure. Right?
Yeah.
When you're setting a realistic goal, you've got to have something to measure. So the same thing with, with finances. You come in and I just tell you, oh, we're going to take this financial vehicle and grow your money. But you have you can't even save $1. Or you have terrible, you don't even know how to create a budget for yourself. Matter of fact, you don't even know how much money you spend every single month. You make the money, it's coming in, right? That cash flow. And then it's at the end of the month, you feel like you have $0 because.
Just spend it as it comes.
That part.
Damn.
So I can't sit down with you and skip from milestone 1 to 7 when we haven't established, the foundation. Once there's a foundation, then we have freedom within that framework to be able to manifest the things that you want for yourself, whether that be your retirement, your emergency fund, but we've got to start. And like I said, the education is going to show up at different points, right? But protecting the money that you make. Remember I asked you, like, if something happened to you today, what would that look like for you financially? It's going to be rough if you don't have savings, right?
GoFundMe going up. GoFundMe ASAP.
Right. And then how much of that money are you really getting?
I don't know. I don't know how it works, but somebody better go do a charity boot camp for me. Shit.
Well, good luck with that, right? Good luck with that. But that's what I'm saying. That's the reality for so many families when the breadwinner in the house gets laid off. I experienced that. And that's what makes me my husband. He's a carpenter by trade.
He was a breadwinner?
And the breadwinner. And we've switched roles so many times throughout our relationship where I'm the breadwinner, he's the breadwinner, but at the end of the day, we know how construction is in Las Vegas. He's been laid off, and yes, he has retirement, pension, vacation, all these things, but that paycheck is valuable.
Yeah.
And most of us aren't planning or even thinking about, if you lost that paycheck, what that life's going to look like for you and for your family. I ask women that all the time, who the breadwinner is in their household, and they say their husband. So if your husband's not working, what does that look like for your family? Oh, girl, I don't even know. We need to change that.
How is it for you and your husband, when the roles change of breadwinner to breadwinner? Has there ever been any, I don't want to say issues, but has there ever been challenging to where, with that dynamic
maybe
changing?
In our earlier years, but.
Is it more ego?
No, not at all.
No?
That's my ace. Like, that's my friend. Like, he and we're super tight. And, when he's had it and I didn't, at the end of the day, we had it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter who's making the most money. That's just never been, he might make it all, we might spend it together, So like I said, we had challenges early on with that, but it's a non-issue in my household.
Do you ever have to, either one of you, I don't want to say the word check, but like, hey, you kind of spend a little crazy right now.
It's more him having to check me. Like, because, you know, I like to travel and he'll be like, babe, we really can't afford that vacation right now. I'm like, oh, I can make it work. You know? So yeah, but you know, we have good communication. So we talk about those things, and yeah, sometimes I don't like it. And sometimes he's like, whatever, just to make me happy. And it's not always a good thing, you know? So, through this transition, right, being in financial services now, it's shed a lot of light for me on some of my past financial habits that weren't good. But again, it's just one of those things that you're constantly learning to get better at. Like you said early on, even as a fitness coach, you want that cookie sometimes.
Shit.
Right?
Damn right.
Yeah. Even as a financial professional, I still want to do things that may not align with my financial goals. But now I have better discernment. So I'm like, girl, yeah, no.
That's so crazy. That's important. I think I want everybody and their mama to understand is because we as humans, we label people based off what they do so much.
Yes.
So because you're in the financial services, people are going to look at you and think she's 100% doing everything all the time within her finances. And as you just mentioned, no, sometimes I want to stretch it a little bit and go on a vacation. Me as a fitness coach, yeah, I believe health and wellness is important, but bro, if I want a maple bar donut, I'm going to go get it.
Right.
And people, we just put the label and we expect them to always be that. Same with me. Like I want to be a motivational speaker. I am a motivational speaker.
Right. Speak that into existence.
And I remember two people in particular made a comment because I last minute got invited to go on this panel that I did maybe a month or two ago. And I had to come from work. It was the very last minute. So I had my little 5-inch shorts on or whatever, right? But to me, I'm like, I'm coming from work. This is how I look at work. This is how and it was a little different because I'm the only one in there. There are some of them are all suited and booted or whatever. But to me, as a motivational speaker, I don't want to be seen or thought of, I have to look a certain way. Right. I'm not going to wear no suit. I'm not going to be all this and that. I want to wear and feel comfortable.
Right.
And that's why I love Eric Thomas. Are you familiar with Eric Thomas?
Are you kidding me?
I was making sure. But the one by Eric Thomas is he goes with how he looks. You know, he's like, it's the message. If you care so much about how I look, as opposed to me giving a message to your employees to change their lives, then that's just the wrong idea.
Yeah.
And same thing with, because some people get surprised when they get to really know me and be around me, especially new clients or anybody, that I am the way I am sometimes. They think because of social media that I'm just as always inspirational, whatever. Like, nah, bro, I'm a little ratchet at times. A lot of the time.
Me too.
A lot of the times. And I want to make that known always. Like, I can motivate you, inspire you, but I'm going to get a little ratchet too sometimes. Yeah. I love it. I think it's all about balance and about being able to own it, but you still got to produce a great product.
Absolutely.
If I wasn't inspiring and motivating and I'm over here just doing ratchet shit, and it's like, all right, bro, you need to get together.
Right.
But if I'm delivering a good product and a good message to you, who I am to totality shouldn't really matter that much.
No, it shouldn't.
But
and don't worry about those two people who were looking at you sideways.
When they said this to me, they both speak too. And I was like, oh, we need to get you changed. And I responded, I was like, no, I don't. And I sent them this video. There's a video I saw of Eric Thomas on a podcast called Earn Your Leisure. And his partner was talking about how when they were first starting out, they got their first $10,000 gig. Mm-hmm. At that point, it was huge. They booked them, whatever. They're hype. They call back the company, calls them again. Hey, actually, just a reminder, we want you to know that we need Eric to wear a suit because it's a business event, a corporate event. Eric Thomas said, tell him we ain't doing it. Mm-hmm. His partner was like, what do you mean, bro? 10,000? Like that's at that point the biggest one. He's like, it don't matter. That's not our brand. Our brand is hip hop. I'm not gonna go put a suit on. It's not me.
Right.
Some time passes. Now they're making, $50,000 a speech, whatever. A lady calls, same thing, books them, calls back later. So his partner in the head is like, oh, they gonna tell us that he needs to wear a suit. Mm-hmm. The lady says to his partner, oh, I just wanted you to call and let you know, make sure he's wearing his shorts and Jordans and his hat, how we see him on Instagram or on YouTube.
Yeah. That's who people are connecting
and
with. That's
when I'm like, oh. So that's why I love Eric Thomas, man. He's been somebody to I guess, look up to or somebody I really inspired to be like, because it's about being yourself, but delivering.
Yeah.
And that's how I move in the world, man. I had a new client today when I told her I like listen to Glorilla sometimes. She laughed and was like shocked. I'm like, yeah, like I'm very much into fitness and health and inspiring people, but I'm just me. I don't know how to explain it other than that.
Yeah. I mean, people form their own opinions in their mind, right?
Always.
And that's not on you.
Period.
That's not your business. That's their problem. But yeah, E.T., that's my guy. E.T., the hip hop preacher. I used to, when I had my travel agency, I'd host sales meetings in the morning, and I would often lead with something from his book or just thank God it's Monday,
Yeah.
something like that. He'd get me fired up. So I would share that with the team.
No, great speaker.
Yeah.
To me, one of my favorites. And
you've seen him evolve over the years, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So much. It's crazy because
Yeah.
I first heard his thing, and that's why I love Facebook memories. Sometimes I hate them because they pull up some shit I said in 2010, but it pulled up something that I quoted of him, I think 2011. And I didn't even remember quoting that. And I followed, especially after my accident, after I went to jail, and I was in a real rock bottom spot. I would literally just pull the laptop out and I would watch his videos again and again and again. And he made me feel and believe that I could become who I'm starting to become now.
Yeah.
Just listen to him and his story and everything very similar to mine.
Confidence is a full-time job.
That's why I resonate with him more than other speakers. And I think part of it is because of he's being himself. Because when you think of motivational speakers, a lot of people, first name that come to mind is like Tony Robbins, things like that. I never related to him. Not saying he's not good. Like now that I'm older, he has great information.
He's a goat.
But when I was in my spot I was in, I'm a black male. My dad wasn't in my life. I was homeless at one point. That's literally everything Eric Thomas talks about. So when he said that, I'm like, oh shit. He knows. He understands.
Right.
So that's why I think it's important for you out there to always be your true authentic self, because there's somebody out there who needs to hear what you've been through because they're going through it, and you ain't alone. Same with David Goggins. So I love David Goggins.
And it's funny now how we add the word authentic when we say be yourself, because so much of what we're dealing with in the world is fake. So we have to add that word in there to reinforce that we want you to be you, right? Just be yourself, period.
Like we were talking about just before we got on the podcast, it's so, oh man, I honestly personally think we're slowly and gonna start getting to a point of life on social media specifically where all these trends and whatever, it's gonna slowly fizzle out because it's an act. You can only pull so many acts out of that fucking bag of jokes.
Right.
But when you're authentic and you're you, that's 24/7.
24/7.
And I'm a victim of it because when I first became a fitness coach working for myself, and I used to look in the gym and see on social media, I'm like, all right, what kind of crazy workout can I have my client do to record and look cool? And I did it. Yeah. And I did it for the first few months of my career. And then I got over it. I was like, it's just too much to try to keep up and be like everybody else. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to, deliver my message as myself, and it's worked out. So all you guys out there, you fitness gurus or whoever, your time is coming. I'm telling you right now, it is. I can see it. I right through it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to hop on trends and want to be like everybody else, be this person, be that. All right, bro. We're going to see.
Just be you. It's always good enough.
Even with content. I think a lot of the good content that's coming out now is the one that's authentic and raw. Like, not so much, I personally, is my opinion, when I see stuff and it's too edited and you got all these things and this and that, I'm like, bro, you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
Back to Eric Thomas. He said it in one of his messages, how when he first started out, he was doing his TGIMs, and then he had his editor put on like the horns and make it all theatrical. And people were like,
you lost me.
Yeah, we don't want all that.
Right.
You want the message.
Yeah.
You want the message. Are you familiar with Earn Your Leisure?
Yeah.
So their podcast, I saw recently, they were talking about how they started with 2 iPhones.
Oh, yeah.
All the stuff didn't matter because their message was what mattered.
Yeah.
And obviously now, if you look and see them, they've blown up to...
For so many reasons, though.
Man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. When you deliver a good product, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
It speaks for itself. You got anything to add? We got a few minutes here.
I mean, I always have a lot to say.
Say it. Say it with your chest.
I don't know. Nothing is
Don't be shy.
festering at the moment.
Okay. Let me think. What I need to know. Touch a little bit on the finances. Was it hard for you to when you started to transition?
Not at all. Not at all. No, not at all. And I just say that because when you have made a decision in your life that you're ready for change, you know, you're more likely, my heart and mind was open.
Yeah.
So I was ready. That's why I said it found me. It literally God put me where I am right now. I feel like is more spiritual than it is anything. And that is something that I'm still exploring, right? Still journaling, still trying to figure out the why behind the what. But I'm enjoying the journey so much because of what I get to give back to my community, right? So, yeah, still a work in progress.
So you're an example of somebody who transformed and grew. What could you tell somebody who is at that point in phase of they're going from one thing and kind of shifting to another, but maybe they're unsure, maybe they're questioning? What could you tell them?
To keep it, for the sake of keeping it short, right? Because that's a loaded question.
Yeah, of course, keep it short.
But to say, just to lean into it, like anytime you feel discomfort, lean in. There's always I always say that I don't lose, I learn. Lean into whatever discomfort you're feeling. Like we hinder ourselves a lot of the time by questioning like every little thing that's happening. And I understand questioning what's happening and having a heightened awareness around what you're dealing with in your life. But in the case where I was going from, I didn't feel like I was making a career change per se, because I was already in the space where I'm coaching and empowering people through behavior change, right? So when finance landed in my lap, it just seemed like such a natural transition. It's like, not only can I help people, with their habits and the mental struggles that come with everything we do, right? We talked about the self-sabotage thing just a bit, but just lean into it. If it feels uncomfortable, that's a good feeling. And we have to sometimes rewire our thinking to remind ourselves that everything that we want for ourselves is right on the other side of our comfort level. So you just if it doesn't feel right, lean into it.
Now, that's great. That's beautiful. Poetic, I'll say.
Why, thank you.
Let us know where we can find you. Let us know about your podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us, we're closing up now, so I want to make sure you
let
people know what you do, your business, where it's at, where they can find you, and then about your podcast.
So first of all, thank you for having me, Dorian. It's been a pleasure. I mean, since I met you, it's just been good vibes, and I appreciate the transparency and just your openness. You can find me on Instagram at GrindGal. You can find me on Apple, Spotify, all the podcast platforms under Thrive and Prosper. And you can find me in the community. Like, I'm always hosting financial literacy events because our community, the resources are out there, people. That's something else that I want you to know. If you live in the Las Vegas area, there are resources out there. And if your finances are important to you and you're not where you want to be, or you want to learn how to handle your money better, or just see where you are in terms of financial literacy, whatever the reason, there are lots of resources out there. And so a lot of people just feel like they don't know where to start or where to go. You can reach out to me via DM, send me a message, website. Like, if you just go on my social media, there's a link where you can contact me. And if I don't have a solution for you, I can redirect you, provide you with a resource. But there are people out there that will sit down with you at no cost to you. Did I charge you? Did I send you that invoice?
No, it was free.
Yeah, right.
Both times.
Everyone
yeah.
deserves a world-class financial education. So one of the things I love about being a financial educator, like I said to you earlier, is I get to sit down with families and see where they're at, talk about what their goals and dreams are, and help them to find a solution at zero cost to them. So, I mean, do I make money? Yes, that's another conversation. But I just want you all to know that there are resources out there for you where you can change the trajectory for your family's financial future.
Well said, Ann. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming out here.
you.
I know you're a busy woman, mother, wife. Thank you. Appreciate it for the help financially.
Yeah, thank you.
The relationship we've built, and yeah, being able to come on here. It's amazing to shed this light on my platform. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I will tag her podcast, her Instagram, all in the description here. So make sure you check her out. If you're in the Las Vegas area, you need financial help, she's the woman to get you there. Her podcast, Thrive and Prosper, touches on finances. And thank you for tuning in. I want to encourage you to be your true, authentic self. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed about what you've been through, because it's making you who you are. Us in this world, we need more people like you. Not like the person you see trending, not like you see the person hanging out with your mama. We need people like you. So be your true self at all times. The people who rock with you are going to rock with you. The ones who don't, fuck them. We ball. 2 words. Keep growing.